Okay, good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, July 20th, 2021, and we're going to get started here with our pre-market analysis on the S&P 500 futures market. Just taking a look at things, want to point out that yesterday we talked about a push up into 42.86, I believe, or 83, and then, a push up into that 42.56 area, and then expected a push right into 42.24 to 42.25. The market pushed right to 42.24 to the tick, and we got a beautiful multiple time frame divergence and a bounce out of that area. And so things worked out pretty much exactly how we mapped them in the morning, and just wanted to point out how well that worked yesterday. So let's go to our ultra high time frames here. Take a look at what's going on. Quarterly looks strong, no signs of exhaustion. Monthly, from an RVI perspective, looks strong with no signs of exhaustion. But there is this candle that's looking increasingly bearish right now. We do have 10 more days, so this picture could change. And then on our weekly, we talked yesterday about the potential for there to be some type of bullish case to be made off of the weekly low for this week. We do have 4 days left, so this will continue to develop and change. You can see that we drew it up to a low here yesterday. That has now moved down to that 42.24 level. Still holding. Like I said, if we can push and hold this 26.75 down here, we'll still have the argument for a bull divergence. So a lot of room for the market to continue to push down and still see that strong signal. On our daily, not really much to be said off the previous daily low there. As we dial down to our shorter time frames, we will see a really clear, strong bull divergence from yesterday's low there. But right now, not necessarily on the daily. We could argue that at the moment there is a little bit of bullishness off of the current overnight low on a daily perspective, but we do need to keep in mind that this daily candle has just opened and we have, whatever it is, 12 more hours, 8 more hours of price action for this to develop. So don't really want to get too caught up in what that's saying right now. And then our 4 hour, this is where we get our first bullish indication off the previous daily low there at 42.24. It's one of those subsequent candle type deals where you have the same low for each candle, but a higher low on the RVI. So we do have that. And now off of the candle that closed at 3 a.m., we do have a bearish divergence. So on the 4 hour, we had a nice bull divergence off the previous daily low. And then as we push, we're getting some bearishness off of the overnight high. Now, what's interesting is last night, I think I put in our multi-time frame alerts channel that I was starting to get some bearish signals on pretty much the 4 hour all the way down to, the short time frames off of, I think, somewhere around 42.64 here. But I did warn everybody that we had a lot more time for those signals to really develop, and things could change. And it's always the case that I hold myself back from mentioning something, and then I realize I really should have mentioned it. But last night I was looking at this swing low back here. You could see right around 42.79. In fact, the low there was, let me get the actual number, 79.25. I was thinking of also mentioning that although we did have a bearish indication at that moment on multiple time frames, we were going to want to watch 42.79.25 because that was that previous swing low that has not been tested. Well, I did not end up typing that out, and sure enough, in the overnight session, we pushed up right to the high was 79.25 to the tick. And that's where we officially started to get some type of stronger pullback here. So, just my luck that I did not mention it and it ended up being to the tick there. But right now, got that bearish indication on the 4 hour right off those lows that we made back on July 8th. So 4-hour bullish off the previous daily low, showing some bearishness on the test of this swing low. We go to our 60-minute here. 60-minute is just giving agreement with the 4-hour. So right now we're kind of stuck in probably this range, and we have to wait and see if we can break out either to the upside or the downside here. Of course, we did have every time frame from the daily all the way down, giving the bear signal from the all-time high on July 14th when we made the double top and sold off. But right now, pretty much every time frame below the daily is starting to show bullishness off that previous daily low. So we need to keep that in mind. We'll jump down to our intermediate time frames here, and they essentially agree with the 4-hour and the 60-minute. So you had the bullish indications when it came down to the previous daily low yesterday. And then as we pushed higher here, we have some bearish indications off of these highs up here. At least compared to the previous major swing highs before it, you have the bearishness on the 30-minute. And I think that's where we'll leave it right now. We are starting to see a potential bullish indication off of the current low right now. But let's see, that low, swing low is 42.55. So right around 42.55. If we break that here in the next few minutes or next hour or two, that will negate that potential bullish indication we're seeing here. So we're going to want to watch that 55. I'll go ahead and mark it on the 30-minute chart here. If we stay above that, then that 30-minute bullish indication will hold. I'll change the color here to something green. So we're going to want to see that hold there for that bullish case. And if I jump back to my 60-minute just to see if we get any type of agreement from that low, I'm not seeing it. So this is really just a 30-minute indication so far. And we'll have to jump down to the short time frames to see what else they're saying here. So it looks like on the 10-minute you have agreement. So the analyst did not quite pick it up here, but you got to push higher and a push lower from these two swings. So there is somewhat of a bullish case from 55. We do have 54.25 as an important level that we've been watching. Let's see here, since June 24th. So pretty much for a month now, this 54.25. So we'll just kind of watch that level because it's not really out of the realm of possibility that they come down. They break the actual low that we need to hold by a few ticks and then continue up. So we'll just watch that 54.25 on the 10-minute here. Outside of that, 10-minute is also agreeing with the 30-minute, the 60-minute, and the 4-hour. We have a nice multiple time frame bullish indication off of 24, and then bearish indications off the overnight high. So we're stuck kind of in a battle right now. We're going to want to at least start to break the overnight high here for this bullish case to really follow through, and then the vice versa on the other side here. If we get through 24, we could see even more of a sell-off. Now, the interesting thing about 24 here is we talked about it in the pre-market session yesterday. So if we jump back to this, was it the 60-minute? Yeah. You guys should remember about yesterday in the pre-market, we talked about how we have this whole leg up from the June 20th low to the new all-time high where we got that bearish indication earlier last week. And we talked about how the 61.8 retracement brings us right back to the previous swing highs from around the 17th into the, say, June 21st, 22nd here. And I told everybody we had a lot of resistance right here around 24. We had not come back to test these levels, so we eventually broke through. Had not come back to test that 24 to 25 area, and it was also the 61.8 retracement of the entire leg. And so I think I mentioned here as we were selling off yesterday morning that if we could not hold above the 50% retracement level, which happened to be this previous swing high around 42.58, that we could continue to push down, and that next area of interest would be somewhere around that 24 to 25. So just very interesting to note that we had that in the cards yesterday, and that's where we got a nice multiple time frame bullish divergence, strong bounce out of the area for about, I don't know, let's call it 50 points, maybe a little bit more than 50 points, and now we're having a little bit of resistance. So that's where we'll leave it for this morning.